Hello everyone. Symbiosis Center for Information Technology welcomes you to the 7th episode of On Air with Adcom. Today we have with us Mr. Vipul Vaibhaw, who is currently working as a senior data engineer at Velotio Technologies. An expert in machine learning and artificial intelligence, he has more than 5 years of experience working with data and is excited about building scalable distributed systems and databases. Hello sir, how are you doing today?
Hi Preetham, I'm fine. What about you?
I'm good too, sir, and we are really glad that you could take out some of your time to be a part of our podcast. So, diving
Sure.
straight into the question, since data has become a major part of operations for any organization, how much impact do you think will data analytics and data science have on the way businesses operate in the next decade?
Yeah. If you see the leading businesses of today, be it companies from US or giants in India, be it Asian Paint. I'm not sure if people are aware, but Asian Paint is one of the biggest data science warehouse powerhouse in the Indian business ecosystem. So they have amazingly operationalized their services, reduced the timing from factory to shops. So amazing use cases, and that's why they are business leaders. So similarly, a lot of other companies who are not tech based, they are picking up the field of data and analytics as well as data science, and adopting technologies like big data, cloud computing, machine learning, data mining, system design, and whatnot. Most of which you guys are already studying at your college at SCIT, right? So it is going to play a big role, major role. The Mukesh Ambani already said that data is the new oil, and Reliance is rapidly moving away from the field of oil and going towards digital era. So the more digitally a company is going to get inclined towards, the better utilization of data they are going to have, and the more impact data analytics and data science are going to have, because the a lot of institutions are preparing the next gen analytics and scientists in this field. So yeah, that's my answer.
Yes, sir. So, as you have said, that data is the new oil of this decade, of this century. So, sir, what do you think? Like, how serious is data privacy issue if not dealt with it on time?
So data privacy has got two components. One is with respect to the consumer, another one is with respect to the business, and both of those things have got their own impact. So if you talk about consumer, me and you, firstly, I mean broadly, at least in India, people are not aware of the concept of privacy. The common argument we get to hear is that I have nothing to hide. So that's a separate discussion. But as per companies are, you know, um, interested in the privacy, they have to protect their own data in order to get ahead in the competition. But it is very complicated. There are a lot of companies like Numerai, so Numerai. It's an open source hedge fund in US who open source their data by camouflaging it, so that you cannot pinpoint the data exactly, but you can still apply data science on that. And they are using your models by the data they are open sourcing to make money in the financial markets. So there are a lot of ways to deal with data privacy, and if it is not dealt in time, if a company leaks data, and once so it's like a moat around your um, around your castle, right? If you lose your moat once, if your data is leaked, you have a direct impact on business, because it's like a corporate espionage sort of a thing. Everybody wants your data. Now, on the second aspect, talking about consumers, it is more of an activist approach in which we should not go into, because it's not related to the topic of discussion today. But I really believe that companies should take as much initiative as they can to protect both of these things. The consumer privacy, there are things like HIPAA compliance and all, HIPPA compliance in UK. There is GDPR in UK. A lot of laws are there, and those type of things should be there here in India as well. And it is really important, because once the data leaks, there is no taking back.
Yes, sir. Like as you have said that we need to study about the HIPAA compliance and the GDPR frameworks and all. So now the next question is something which our listeners would want to know, and that is if it is required to be a good programmer to excel in the field of data analytics.
So I have seen a lot of folks from non-tech background doing amazing in the field of analytics. You have to be a good problem solver, have an analytical ability to break down problems and understand things. You should be open to learn new technologies, because ultimately tech is all about thinking logically. But being a good programmer is not necessary, according to me, to be a good analytics. If you are good in Excel, even if you don't know R and all, you can still do well. MS Excel, I'm talking about, or Google Sheets. However, if you want to break into the science part, the AI part, and all those things, there, I mean, it is important for you to code, because the tools like PyTorch, TensorFlow, all those things need Python to work. You have to have an understanding of how Python works, how to write code, right? And anyways, in general, I advise everyone to learn coding, because ultimately you are using computer to do something, and the best way to communicate to computer is through code, right? But yeah, I mean, the answer is no, but the recommendation is that you should learn programming for sure.
So, sir, basically, you're dividing this into two parts. One will be
Hmm.
for the data analytics, where programming is not very important. But when it comes to the machine learning and the science part, at
Yeah,
there you are recommending that programming knowledge will be a crucial part to carry it forward. Okay.
totally.
So, sir, like as you've said, what do you value more? Do you value experience more, or do you value knowing about the subject more?
Hmm. That's a very good question. So most of the time, so I had written a Twitter thread about how to build your own data science team. Allow me 2 minutes to summarize it. Um, the first part, I often recommend companies to start with a internal, in every company there will be somebody who is excited about data science. So the first guy should be that guy who knows your data, and then he builds some stuff around data science. Because in data science, more than models, tech, and everything, domain knowledge is something which takes you apart. For example, if you want to get into computer vision, which is a part of artificial intelligence, that is how computers see. If you really understand well light, camera, then you become way better data scientist as compared to someone who just knows some machine learning models. Similarly, if you are working with, let's say, e-commerce, or you are building a recommendation engine for Netflix, if you really understand, like, totally, you have got domain knowledge, you know the nerves of people who are watching movies. If you know the youth, the better you know the domain, the better algorithms will build. So eventually, the domain knowledge which will come with experience is going to make you way better data scientist than just knowing the models, because model itself is more of a research part. Nobody uses, I mean, very few people use transformers and stuff which requires multiple GPUs to run. Most of the time, linear regression is fine. But where exactly that fits in? How do you make sure that the model is not decaying? How you measure your model's performance? These things come from domain knowledge. So that's why eventually people value experience way more than knowledge itself.
And definitely, sir, domain knowledge is something which SCIT really hammers down on us. So now coming to the last question of our episode, what job roles can aspirant expect to take up in the data science and analytics field, like in terms of career growth, or for a fresher who wants to start in data science, where can you start with?
Yeah. So as you said that analytics, most of the people get uh, hired as junior analyst or data analyst, these kind of field. So where the job is to build visualizations way more than doing actual analytics, because there are senior people who do that. So the starting role for the analyst part is that. And also, if you are really good in SQL, you become way better data analyst, because you have access to all the databases, which and you need to know how to work with them. I mean, you will not get data into Excel sheet. You will have to have at least SQL knowledge if you don't know the program. So that the sooner you start picking up the tech, you move up into the ladder, and you have got two opportunities. Either you get higher into the business side, that is, you become a business analyst, and then you become VP of data science, and then that is one career path. The another career path is more towards tech side. If you are like really passionate about building models and domain knowledge stuff, um, being close to tech. So that's another area where you will become a engineering manager, VP of technology or something like that. In data science, it's a different career path. You have to start as a junior machine learning engineer most of the time, because see, data science again has got multiple parts. You can be a very good programmer data scientist, or you can be a very good um, you know SQL programmer data scientist. So there's a difference between the guy who knows SQL and the guy who knows Python, right? So if you have really good knowledge about computer science and then you are getting into data science, then you take roles like deep learning engineer, machine learning engineer. You build models which can scale and stuff like that. If you don't take that role and you get into the data science part of just building the models and being a bridge between business and tech team, then your role is very different. So I would say that if you are a aspirant and if you are starting your career in this field, don't expect really high-fi roles, but try to get good roles which can offer you um, good knowledge and domain knowledge, both the things. So tech knowledge as well as domain knowledge. You can get roles like analyst and then proceed, or you can take roles like junior data scientist, work in one field, get domain knowledge, get really smart with the data, and then proceed towards data scientist, senior data scientist, lead data scientist, and then VP of data science. And the final role is obviously CIO. In most cases, there are few companies which offer CDSO as well, senior data science officer, or CDO, senior data officer, depending on what kind of company that is. But yeah, that is the eventual path.
Definitely, sir. There is a path which everyone can take who has started on with this field. And with this, I would like to say a big thank you. And a thank you to everyone who is listening to us, and stay tuned for the next episode of On Air with Adcom.